Welcome to episode 38 of the Career Breakthrough Series. I'm your host, Paul Ames, and if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe by hitting the button below. Or if you're checking us out via iTunes or Stitcher, please don't forget to rate, subscribe and review, or leave some comments to let us know what you think about our episodes or the guests that we're getting on. So if you ever wondered why the military seem to develop and refine such incredible leaders who can push through some of the harshest and toughest situations they're faced with on the planet, then my guest today, Nicky Thomas, is going to share exactly that. So Nicky Thomas is a former military boss lady in the Australian Army. She's worked and led teams to success in many different operations. So Nicky now teaches corporations and businesses how to develop and refine leaders who are really going to stand out and lead their team to success in their business, using some of the strategies, tips and techniques that she's developed and refined in the Australian Army. This is such a great episode to really help you develop and refine your leadership skills to ensure that you shine in your career. So let's go into the interview. Welcome to another episode of the Career Breakthrough Series. I'm your host, Paul Ames. And if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to my channel to get some more amazing guests like Nicky on the show. So if you ever wondered why the Army develop and refine such incredible leaders who can really push through some of the toughest situations on the planet, then my guest today, Nicky Thomas, is really going to help you thrive in being being an incredible leader. So Nicky operates her own business called Nicky Thomas Action Strategist, where she helps leaders and corporations to develop and refine incredible leadership skills that really help the organization to succeed and drive their business forward. Nicky, thank you so much for agreeing to be on the show. It's an absolute honor to have you on. If you could just give my audience a bit of a background into basically who you are and what your upbringing was like for you growing up.
Sure, Paul. Thank you. Firstly, thank you for having me. I know you've had some amazing people on this show, so I'm flattered to be in amongst that group. My background was I grew up in your standard Aussie family. You know, my mum and dad were very young. My dad, at 23 years old, came home to my 20-year-old mother and said, "I've bought a business in the middle of WA in, the remote outback." And so off we went. With a 6-month-old child, and I grew up in the very remote country of WA, which was fantastic childhood. But we did, my family went, there was often a struggle for money. There was a lot of scarcity. We had to sort of follow jobs around sometimes. As now, running your own business is a challenge, and
Definitely.
In a small country town, you have to build up a lot of rapport and friendships and trust before your business can start to flourish. So mum and dad struggled, early on.
Yeah.
So I really learned the value of hard work early. And my dad was a very hardworking man. He supported us all the way through. My mum didn't go back to work until we were in high school. So, my role models were you work hard to get what you need,
Yeah, definitely. I can completely relate. I'm very, very similar. Obviously, I was the city-based, but my dad was like a workaholic, had his own cleaning business and stuff, and instilled the same sort of morals in me. So, yeah, thanks for sharing that, Nicky. So, Nicky, I'd love to touch on your time in the military. Obviously, they develop quite incredible leaders, and that's obviously where you've got your amazing skills and techniques and your ability to be able to help other businesses thrive. So what got you started in your interest in the military?
So it's really interesting. I dated a guy who was in the military in my early 20s, and I went off and I saw him go through military training, and so I had a little bit of an insight into it there. But then I started doing Taekwondo,
Oh, nice.
And my instructor, and I'd always been brought up to be kind of a real girly girl and very much geared towards things like teaching and, pick the girl careers. I remember I wanted to go to do work experience in my dad's as a mechanic, go and work with him, and my mum was like, no, go and do something that's more girl appropriate. So I did have that happening. And then when I started doing Taekwondo, I realised I was actually quite good at it. But my instructor had worked with the US military, and he talked about it a lot. And I realised that I had a really strong sense of personal discipline and personal leadership, which isn't something that, as a kid I was always like, whatever, it wasn't competitive, it was fourth in every race, let people win, didn't really develop that competitive side. So when I realised I was actually quite good at this, I thought, I'm going to go and give this a go. And I see if I can get through the training and what it would be like. That was it.
Oh wow, that's perfect. Yeah, again, I can relate. Like martial arts has been something since I've done since I was 12. Or it's always been a big part of my life. So I think it's great at instilling that discipline and structure, especially. Like I found that it also like calmed and balanced me as well. That was one of my biggest things.
That mental strength, so it really changed the way I thought about myself and what I was capable of. It was my first kind of window into what I could maybe go and do, So when I went off and joined the army, I loved it immediately. And I was like, I went and joined as a reservist, and within, I don't know, I think it was 4 months later, I said, no, that's my life now. I'm going full time. Absolutely loved it. So my poor mother was most upset.
And you're like, sorry, Mum, sorry.
I know, I really was. Yeah, like, I want to go. And she was so, poor Mum, when she dropped me off at, when I went to so we do Kapuka, our basic training, and then we go and get trained in the job that we're going to do. And mine was in Melbourne, and I was going to be there for 9 months, and we're living in dorm rooms, and Mum dropped me off. Mum and Dad drove me across, and Mum was crying, leaving me in these dorm rooms. It's like a jail. I was like, oh my God, it's so awesome, very different. Yeah.
And you're like, no, Mum, no, it's fine, it's good.
It's all, I was like, this is the best. Yeah. So for some reason, and I think that sort of, I think it comes, my mum is quite strong, but doesn't kind of know, she doesn't realize how strong she is. So, some of that tenacity that you see coming from your parents, and my want to be pushed and my need to work hard, I think that really comes from both my parents modeling that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for sharing, Nicky. So, I'd love to know, obviously the military has developed quite incredible things for you. So what do you think your biggest takeaways from being in, having your time in the military have really refined in you?
Yeah, it's don't get caught up in the politics, because there's a lot of, obviously people are interested because I'm a female in the military, and, there can be a lot of encouragement to fall into the victim mindset of poor you had to work harder because you were a girl. Yep. And I just think that's not, for me personally, everybody has their different strengths and weaknesses, and it is very different being a female in the army. But there are also many different females. So for me, it was like, once I'd established that I could do my job well, then it was no longer an issue, girl or guy, So there is that initial thing, but I think some of the younger guys had that as well. So for me, don't get caught up in the politics. Don't get caught up in some of the hype. Don't do it. Don't try and follow the crowd. Do the best job you can do. It's why I'm so passionate now about personal leadership, making your own choices and not just following along with the norm, what's going on. So, yeah. Yeah,
definitely. So leading on from that, Nicky, I'd love to touch on what do you think? I know you've worked with some incredible clients in your business. What do you think would be some of the best leadership advice or tips or strategies that you've developed that you teach to your clients? What do you think are the best things for you?
So the first one, again, is always be really clear on what you want. So when I'm working with both corporate staff and business owners, there is there's always phases of what's going on. There was everyone should run their own business, and if you don't work for yourself, you'll work for someone else. There's always that kind of thing that makes you feel a bit bad about, oh my God, I'm quite happy just with a job,
Yeah.
And also, there's a lot of, laptop lifestyle. You can earn $1 million and do nothing. And, and I really bought into that at the start and was working so hard to get that happening, and thought I wanted, this millionaire status and to have this freedom. And I was like, actually, God, I don't think I want to work that hard, actually, and so I really had to dig into what is it that I want, what's going to fit for me. And with all my clients, I go, do you really want that, or have you been told that that's what you should want? So, some real awareness, and whether that comes through talking to someone like yourself, a career coach, or, leadership coach like myself, or, someone who's within the organisation. But ultimately, it's got to come back to you. So for me, I have 3 kids at home, and I didn't want to miss out on school drop-offs and pick-ups and things, which I was trying to do that initially, and that it just hit up against my values really strongly. So being okay with what it is that you want, and being okay to say, nah, it's good for you but not good for me, really strengthen, your own identity.
Definitely. I couldn't agree more with that. I think that's so important too. Like I've gone through the same thing with my business. I know you and I have talked a fair bit, and the same thing, like you're led to believe a lot of the bullshit that's fed to you online, or like people promising all this. And I got so caught up in it, and I think my head just went in so many different directions.
Yeah.
I was going, I want to be a millionaire. I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this. Yeah. And then like exactly what you said, my family's, I went out till I sat down and work out my own values. Funny enough, it's something I teach my clients.
Yeah.
But, we don't actually sit down and do it ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. I always go, oh my God, I have to live my own teachings, and I always have to remind myself to come back to that.
Yeah.
Because you do get caught up in it. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that was so important, because then I realized, family are the most important thing to me, and that flexibility to be able to spend time with them. So, by saying I don't want to miss out on my kids growing up, I don't want to miss out on their lives. They're 2 and 4, and, it's incredible seeing them now as much as I am. So.
Yeah, exactly. And, you've heard the story so many times when people have worked so hard to make lots of money, and then they get to this point where they still feel unfulfilled.
Yep.
Because and I say this in my workshops, like I always apologize to people and go, I'm really sorry, but all the cliche bullshit is actually real, like it's the connections, it's the people. And, if the world blows up tomorrow and we go to nuclear war, it's the people that are going to be important, not the stuff, So look, I'm not saying don't have stuff. I'm a big fan of stuff and I want to have money,
Yeah.
but it is those connections. And so how does that work for you? And also there's a lot of push towards hustle, do it now, hurry up. And I found myself in real burnout because, and I couldn't give the connections that my kids and my husband needed because I was just hustle.
Yeah.
And, like I'm sure you, same thing, like where it's work harder. And actually it's not. It's work to where you need to be, work to what you want. Do push yourself, but what's working for you in your lifestyle at the moment?
Wow, I think that's so valuable. And definitely can relate to that. I got to a point twice in my business where I was prepared to actually give it up and just go, you know what, this is too much. I was grinding myself to the ground. I still stay up late nights now and do work, but I don't stress so much about things. And then things seem to flow a lot better when you're not pushing yourself so hard to the extreme.
Exactly. And like I said, it is that cliche of being grateful for what you've got, which means that you get more. And it is that balance between how do you increase your sales and business whilst not focusing so hard on it and stressing about it, And it comes from gratitude. The minute that I decided to be happy with what I had and choose my life and go, we're actually okay, business started to flow a lot better because I was a lot better,
Yeah, so true. Yeah. Guys, definitely go back and have a listen to what Nicky's just shared there. That's great advice. Hey, Nicky, I know we've all got an incredible trait or a really positive trait or habit that's helped us achieve the success we have in our life. Mm-hmm. We've also got a really hindering habit. What do you think would be your most positive habit or trait? And what would be, on the flip side, your most hindering one?
So it's funny that that question is quite challenging for me because it's almost like the same thing. So my most positive habit is probably being able to switch off. Like I actually don't switch off very easily. So choosing to go, no, not doing any work for the next day or for a half a day or whatever, and choosing that and switching off, and then, getting on watching a series on Netflix or whatever. But that's also my worst habit because then I get like obsessed with the series on Netflix and don't do the work, so that takes a lot of self-discipline. So for me to balance that out, I have to have every single day I need to either read something or watch something that keeps me inspired, that keeps me, reminds me of the path I'm on. If I spend too long, if I get too busy and I don't get a chance to either listen to somebody's podcast or watch a YouTube clip or read a section out of a book or something, you go back to old habits. And this is what I say when I do workshops, and you're probably the same. Like, this doesn't happen from being told information once. You need to be consistent and you need to plug in daily to where you want to be, who you want to be, because otherwise your brain just does you in. Your brain is just against you, and it will keep you in bed when you want to get up at 5 a.m.,
Yeah, definitely. I know for me, like the best thing that's always been a really big benefit for me is always writing down everything. So one of my previous guests I had on, Alan Brower, he is the creator of Self Journal. He actually sent me that, and that was amazing. Like, I absolutely love it. That keeps me accountable, and each day you go through and you follow up on what you could have done better or what great achievements. And I think just simple things like that just keeps you motivated to go, okay, this is what I've done yesterday. This is what I'm going to attempt to do today and what I've actually achieved. I think that's the biggest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
And what you just said there about looking backwards, because especially like in coaching, we're always looking forwards. Where are we going? What are we achieving? And people forget to say, wow, I was fucking awesome back there, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And so I'm always encouraging my clients to celebrate themselves. If they've done something that was a challenge, you know, look back and go, well done, sort of thing. And you know, the people around you help with that too. Like, you know, my husband's always saying, I'm so proud of you. I'm like, I haven't done anything, you know, but it's really helpful to go, he goes, yeah, you have. Remember you did this and look where you've come, you know. So looking backwards with the journaling is really helpful as well. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So Nicky, I'd love to find out more about your business and what you're most excited about coming up in the future, or what some of the things you're currently doing that's got you really lit up inside.
Yeah, so currently I've decided to run a series of workshops. I just do a one-day training on leadership, and I've put it at a really low price point just to get everybody in. And like things are just coming from that left, right, and centre. So working with in businesses, but also in corporate spaces is very different. You would know. So with the corporate spaces, it's working with the individual people and seeing them flourish and make their choices, some of them leaving corporate, some of them wanting to get promotions, you know. So seeing people really step into themselves and know that actually it looks like it's their job that they hate, but it's just that they're not living with their values, you know. Yeah. So helping them to make better choices and have a fabulous kind of sustainable life. And then I'm really, like I said to you, noticing that every single person, man, woman, everyone I talk to, does not know how to set good boundaries. And that's really shining out for me in every workshop that I go in. I'm like, oh my God, I need to just focus in on this boundaries thing, because people don't know how to say no. And, you know, it's a bit cliched that it's women more than men, and I do see that, but also I think it's personality driven. So some people are pleasers and want to do more, and they're forgetting to set boundaries, and they think it's bad, and there's a lot of guilt around setting a boundary and saying no, and you know, and so the problems that they think they've got are actually not the problems. The problem is that they haven't set a boundary. So that's really, you know, something I'm looking toward doing some longer training days, or you know, group coaching, or some kind of, you know, I haven't developed it yet, but definitely something around how to freaking set a good boundary, because it is the crux of everything. It's the basis of every other decision, you know.
Definitely. I love that. I haven't actually heard that before, but it's something that's so important. And as you said, like, so many people just don't set boundaries. And I'm guilty of it myself, like I'm sure most of us are, where, you know, I used to just be so much of a people pleaser and just, you know, try and keep everyone happy. Anyone who would, like, you know, reach out or want some free advice from me and stuff like that. And I know I've spoke to Sarah about this before, Sarah Cordner, a long time ago, and yourself, you know, you need to set these firm boundaries. And, you know, if that's not helping you move forward and you grow, or, you know, something in it for you, then you need to look after you first. So.
Because people need your business. People need what you've got. And if you are giving it away for free, not sustaining yourself, you know, tired, worn out, burnt out, then you reach less people. And that is the ultimate selfishness. You know, I always say you're making other people a thief by taking from you what you don't have to give. So you absolutely, and it's moving that mindset from, you know, to be a good person, I need to do what everybody else wants, to know actually to serve people better, I need to take care of this first.
Definitely.
Big lesson,
That's so true and so important, Nicky. So, Nicky, say if there's someone in my audience, like they're at a lower management level, they're looking to progress and be a better leader and a better manager, what would be some of the advice you think you could share with them to allow them to potentially lead their team a lot better and to run more efficiently?
So this is such a fantastic question, because I just yesterday did a full day workshop working with leaders like this, and they're like, often they come to me saying, how do I get my staff to do? How do I get them to, you know, how do I inspire them? How do I motivate them? And when I dig down, it's always about them and their self-management first. So my number one tip is always dig into what are you doing? What's your self-leadership look like? What do you really want from this? What is your bigger picture? And you really got to look at yourself first, your own identity, boundaries, being strong in who you are. Because like the clients that I work one-on-one with, from a place of that person's not doing what I want them to do, to me training them in how to speak, how to ask for things differently, how to communicate differently, different body language, they change their world. They change what happens back to them. I always say, I don't know, last week I put a video up called "What About the Dickheads at Work?"
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, this is how I talk. But it's like you're letting that person have the power over you. When you learn to self-manage, when you learn to be your own leader, you take away the power from the dickheads, and it changes the way your work day goes. And then, because ultimately people aren't that unhappy because work's bad, it's because it affects them at home, And so when you can have an easier run at work because you're leading yourself differently, speaking differently, understanding people differently, then home life gets better. And that's the ultimate goal, isn't it? We want increased income, we want happiness, that's all of our high-level goals, but it's all these little everyday cruxes that get in the way. So my number one tip is look into you, Yeah.
That's great. And it's I love that video you did about what about the dickheads as well, because often the people that are like that, a lot of people don't realize that these people have got their own severe issues that they're trying to portray this image or put other people down to make themselves feel better.
They're the most vulnerable. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the biggest thing. Like I've learned that from my counseling and working with different people that these people, like, for example, I know I rabbit on about this all the time, but I think it's so important is the opinions of others and influence of others. Yeah. Like, it's so important because often people portray what they think, what career would be best fit for you, because they haven't lived out their life or career that they want. So
that's right.
Push it out through you or live it out through you, which is not matching what you want, really.
Not true to you. That's right. When you can, when you're the most effective in a role like that, which is an advisory role, is when you can let go of outcome. When
Definitely.
It's like because it's not good for me. I don't want to do what you do, but it's good for you. So really being able to ask the right questions changes the outcome. And then it's just nothing to do with you, is it? It's like, okay, you want that person to get the best results, and then they're like, oh my God, you're a superstar, you did this, and actually you did nothing. You just facilitated the thought process for them,
So true. Exactly. I know we were talking before about how you're saying about your best and worst habits, and how one of them was to make sure that you read something or look at a video or watch a podcast. So on that, what would be one of the best resources, books, podcasts or videos that you've ever watched, and how has that impacted you in such a big way?
So I've got a couple of different answers for that. Here it is. I was looking for my book up on my shelf.
Nice.
This book here, I don't know if you can see it, it's right way. It's called The Princessa. And it's called Machiavelli for Women. And it really, I think women have been brought up to be polite and be nice and not rock the boat. I'm not sure millennials might have a different experience, but our generation certainly, don't be a bitch kind of thing. And this was a life changer for me, for being able to set my own boundaries and stand in my own strength and go, you know what, that's who I am. I'm fucking awesome, So this one, for men and women, it really brings, because I don't like a lot of the hype around like, poor me, I'm a woman, no one takes me seriously. I think if you're doing a good job, people will take you seriously. And if they don't, well, that's their bag.
Yes,
work with people that do. So this was fantastic. And also it speaks a lot in a language that I prefer and that I understand, which is that it speaks about the war within, and, it uses those kind of metaphors that are military. So I respond well to that one. And so that had a massive impact, like I said, on me personally. Every single client that I work with who is trying to run a team in some way, I recommend the four disciplines of execution. Have you heard of that one?
Heard of that
It's called 4DX, and it just talks about, we often think if we put up a plan, a process. There's so many policies and procedures in companies now, and people will follow them. And this is more about how to motivate, get in between. People don't always want to follow the rules. Everyone has a different kind of personality, and how is that going to work? And so it's how to get people to execute, because we can all sit down and write a beautiful plan, like, right, we're going to be at 6 a.m. we're running, and at 6:15 we're meditating, and blah, blah, blah. But the execution comes from a completely different place in the brain. So, anyone that is struggling to run a team, I always recommend 4DX.
Wow, that's perfect. Yeah, that really puts it into perspective too. I think, without planning without execution, it's just failure. So
right,
yeah,
and then you feel like crap, and it's a cycle, isn't it? Then you're like, I can't do it. This is why I'm not always big on big goal setting either. I'm like, have an end goal, but be prepared to get there. in a different way if that's what the world presents to you, because feeling like you're failing every day, setting these big goals and not getting there is detrimental to your I want to say, I've lost my words, but moving forward is detrimental to you keeping on going, just keep swimming. So setting small goals and being happy about them, definitely, and keeping that big goal in the back of your mind. But I certainly don't. I do not plan any more than a year out. And I know that's might be quite shocking to some of the big planners who are like 5-year, 10-year goals, but I have a 5-year, 10-year goal roundabout, but I really don't want to plan more than a year ahead, because I got to tell you, a year in my life fucking changes dramatically from week to week. 1 minute, I'm like, oh my God, look what we've done in the last 5 years. I couldn't have possibly predicted that, So yeah.
Oh, that's so true. Like, I've changed up my goal setting plans a lot now, how I deal with things as well. And for me, I kind of have a rough idea of what I want in my head. I don't have it set in stone. I try and be adaptable. And I found, like, recently something really as big has changed. And, I found that whenever I get unmotivated in my business, I know it's just a simple thing, but it's when there's no consistency, I start losing motivation and I question myself. I go, oh, am I not good enough? Am I not achieving these results? Should
I not be doing this? Yeah.
Yeah. And then constantly getting that flow and, having over, I think it's about 40 or 50 testimonials or something now, I kind of go, that I reflected back on that. I try and reflect back on that whenever I get in a down place or a dark place, or,
Yes.
My previous guest brought up a really good term, which I heard on Dexter, the TV show, called the dark passenger. Basically where, you go to that dark place and there's that side of you can't shake, that you can't get rid of. And it's just about how to say, for him, he says cancel. Whenever he gets in that dark place, he just says cancel. And he goes, he said, he didn't give a shit when he was in public. He goes looking like a weirdo or whatever. Cancel. So, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Because it's always there. That's the thing. People say, how do you get rid of it? You don't. You manage it,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, that's been the biggest thing. Getting results or getting people consistency just keeps me lifted up. So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it is going like, actually, people are getting value. Keep going, keep going. So it is really beneficial to ask for those testimonials and get that feedback. Because as entrepreneurs, I always look back when I'm looking for content to write up, and, when we're in the military, or I was in the military, when you're in a job, you get feedback, you get a report, you get someone saying you're doing a good job, you're doing a bad job, and kind of where you are on track. But as an entrepreneur, that doesn't happen. You've just got your own head to deal with. And your own head can be pretty nasty, So yeah, definitely going like, hang on a minute, that person said they got value, so obviously I'm all right, and you have to trust that as well. I spent a lot of time early in my career going, no, I don't believe you, you're just being nice to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just got to trust that people are getting value when they say they are,
Yeah. I found the opposite, actually. Like, for me, it's been really funny where some clients I work with, and I start second guessing myself after our sessions, and I'm going, shit, are they happy? Have I done a good job with them? And that's why I always follow up with asking for a testimonial.
Just check in.
Oh, sorry, my phone was just ringing. That's why I always follow up with a testimonial, just to check that, or to see what their results are. And then you get these incredible testimonials that are like blow you away, and you're like, wow. So,
good.
Yeah.
Right, then.
My own shit. Yeah. So,
And I just want to say too, when we're talking about setting these massive big goals, I use a metaphor for this. When I was in the army and I learned how to do navigation. So when you learn how to navigate, you've got a paper map and a compass, but you learn landmarks and things as well. So I'm there but I was strictly, following what I had learned. This is my end goal. I need to get to this point. These are the figures to get there, and I'm following this thing. But I had to be on the top of a hill. That was my end point. And I was like, but the compass is saying go that way. And the hill, can you see my hand? The hill was like right here, right? Yep. But because I was so focused on the rules and what I had to do and what the compass was saying, I didn't even see the fucking hill,
Oh, no.
Right? And the corporal that was teaching me was like, oh, look around, like get up off the paper and look around. And so this is why, when you're setting these firm goals, you can miss the freaking elephant in the room that's right there, the big opportunity, the thing, so that's why I'm a little bit more like, be flexible, have that goal, but look around, notice what's happening, because, you miss the hill otherwise.
Definitely. And
Miss your destination.
That's so funny because I saw there was a video I saw just recently, I think it was last week, about a test they do somewhere where you have to draw 5 lines on a piece of paper, and so many people fail it. And the only way you can draw these 5 lines is by going outside of the box.
Oh,
and that's how you pass that. They test you on that, but most people think within the box. They just think, oh, how can I do this? So, and I was like, wow, it's so true.
But I think when you say most people, you mean most adults. A child would go outside the box.
Yeah, they'd just be like, oh yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Whatever, there's 5 lines, I'm done. Yeah.
Exactly, and it's just what we're conditioned to believe in our patterns and behaviours. So
exactly.
Nicky, got a bit of a random question I always ask to all of my guests. It's from solution-focused therapy. It's called the miracle question. Mm-hmm. So imagine if you went to sleep tonight and overnight a miracle had occurred. When you woke up the next day, everything you ever wanted to impact in the world or any impact you wanted to make had come true. There was no financial roadblocks or no mental roadblocks holding you back. What would be that impact you'd love to make on the world, and why would it be so important to you?
Oh, that's going to make me cry, that question. That's amazing. Like, really, I can do that, for me, I don't know what it is and how to get there, but for me, it's always, I really want to impact women in the world, which it sounds a little bit like everyone wants to impact women, but I really want to, I would really love to be, this is why I run a business that is profitable and sustainable, so that I can do this for free, because I really want to get to those women that think and believe and have been told that they can't, and I just want to shake up their mindset, and I want to do that on a really wide scale. So, even across the world, when girls are being married off at 9 years old and stuff, and it's just normal, and, on every level, to the stay-at-home mom who's a single mom with 3 kids who just feels stuck and thinks she can't. My original plan in getting into coaching was I want to impact those women. Those people can't afford coaching,
Definitely.
They can't afford the help they need. They don't have the time to give. So for me, I would want to figure out a way to be able to, create teams and tentacles out into the world that can really change the way those people think in the lower socioeconomic areas, in the poorer countries, in some of the traditions that we've been guilted into. Like, there's a lot of religious traditions that aren't real, really, but they're real in people's minds. So that would be my big thing. And like I said, I don't really know how that would happen or how I would do that, but whenever I get asked a question about what's your bigger purpose and what would you want to do in the world, it's always that. It's always, I want to change the world from that point. So yeah,
that's brilliant, Nicky. I love that, and I think it's so crucial as well. Like I never forget, like, the very first client I had, I was so nervous, and it was via Skype, which was like completely threw me. I was like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? But I did. Did it anyway. And I had this amazing client from Melbourne, and she had done some incredible things in her career. She'd been like an international stockbroker. She'd done, really high-end professional roles. But she had this doubt and limiting beliefs in herself that she could go into a different industry or different role. And it was funny, like, all this negative self-talk and, stuff that had been holding her back was like, just all surface level stuff. Like, and once I helped her remove a lot of those blocks and that, she realized that what she could actually do and what she was really capable of. And, it was just within her. It was just this one little thing holding her back. So being able to impact all these women around the world who, like you said, can't afford coaching and have those.
They're in a prison, but the prison is theirs. Like, they put themselves in a prison, or someone's given it to them. They haven't questioned why they think that, and, their identity, who they think they are. And, there are so many amazing people out there who are not being celebrated just because of the way the structure of celebration and world and awards and stuff is. But, just to empower a different way of thinking. Definitely. without being a douchebag about it.
That's so true. I love that. That's brilliant. So, Nicky, we're getting ready to wrap up soon, but what do you think would be the best parting advice that you've ever received in your life, or something that's really impacted and made a difference in your life?
There's a couple of things that come to mind when you ask me that question. Number one, when I was in my 20s, and I got promoted very young into a management position, and I was having a hard time with my team, and someone said to me, there is no bad teams, only bad managers, only bad leaders. And I had no idea what he meant. I had no understanding. I was like, what are you talking about? I'm awesome, or I just had nothing. I didn't even think that. I just didn't get it. And it keeps coming up to me now in my work with people, and how you don't think one person can impact a team or a community or a world, but they really can. And so that one just keeps coming back to me. And then it's your life, you get to choose. Like, you aren't actually blocked by anything. It's your life. So again, when I heard that, Paul, and you were probably the same, I was like, no, I can't because of X, Y, Z, you know.
Yeah.
And I would encourage people to just keep leaning into what that might mean for them, and just to stretch a little bit at a time, because it made no sense to me when I first heard it. But you are in charge. There are no rules. You know, you get to make them. And I think that's the hardest concept for people to understand. Certainly still I am bound by my own mindset, and you know, as I grow, that will change. But now I look back and go, wow, I just had no idea what that meant, and it made no sense to me. And I thought that, you know, you hear it from people that are generally established, and I thought, well, it's all right for you because you've got money and you've got time and you've got this and I haven't, you know. But actually we all have.
Yep.
It's just the way we use it, right? So I would encourage you to keep looking at that message, to keep coming back to, I have a choice here, you know, and it's whether you want to deal with the consequences. Really, it is the hardest one to get across to people. It's the one that I spend the most time in conflict with clients on, because they don't believe or trust, you know, and it's about them coming to that conclusion on their own. And especially when you're talking to family and friends, they're like, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
What are you talking about? Yeah.
Yep. I couldn't agree more, Nikki. Honestly, I think since doing this podcast, I think that's the reason I love it so much, is you get to see that story of people, and I probe at different things to get people to open up about things. And, like, you know, for example, some of the previous guests have been homeless, you know, had nothing. One of my previous guests, her mum sold her out. When she sold her, she watched her dad get murdered. Yeah, different things like that. And these people have come through against complete adversity. One of my other friends who I interviewed, she had a heart transplant and actually died for 90 minutes on the operating table.
Wow.
So, you know, to be able to come back from that, teach yourself to walk and talk, and
right.
You know, it shows you that nothing is unachievable.
Nothing's impossible. And I think it's like, it seems to be, Paul, that the people who've hit the most hardship get that message much more quickly than, like, people like you or I have had a pretty, you know, I've had a pretty normal kind of upbringing, pretty normal life. Yeah, hardships, but nothing like that, you know, nothing like murder and, you know, death and things like that. So we are safe. We are too safe to understand the concept that we get to choose. You know, like, we're completely comfortable. And if we go and make a choice that makes us uncomfortable, we're just not used to that kind of pain, you know. And so it is. And that's where, I mean, I'm going to do a complete, like, spruik promotion for coaches in general here. But that's where having a coach in your corner really fucking helps, you know, because we're not used to it. We're not used to going against our natural instinct to stay safe.
Exactly. And it's funny, I actually I responded to a call out yesterday for Source Bottle and got an article featured on that. Basically, it was to do with counselling and to do with psychologists, why people should look after their mental health. Yes. You know, I think the biggest reason for me personally why people should look after their mental health and potentially see a coach, or, you know, get a leadership coach, a career coach, anything like that.
Yeah, whatever's going to suit you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's because you often need that outside perspective. I mean, I've sought my own counselling for various things as well. And I think that's where I've needed somebody to come and tell me these things, or to break through some of these barriers that I'm just putting up myself. So
yeah, you know, it's like you're too close to the problem to see it, you know. Exactly. You're in it, just surrounded by it, whereas somebody seeing it from an outside point of view is like, there's the door, why don't you take it, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Nikki, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you on the show. I've loved the incredible advice and insights you've shared. There's some amazing implementable tips for people to help them with leadership. So where would be the best place for, saying if someone wanted to reach out to you to help drive their team forward and help lead in a better way, where would be the best place to get in contact with you?
So the best place for me is social media. I'm always on Facebook. So you can friend me at Nicky Thomas, NICKY, or I'm Nicky Thomas Action Strategies is my business page, or my website, which is www.nickythomas.com.au, and all my details are there, and you can definitely get in touch with there. But yeah, like I said, a lot of people reach out to me on social media. It's an easy way to send a message and get a quick chat happening. So yeah, that's a really good place to just, you know, like, the thing is, Paul, I have a very different perspective of leadership than traditional leadership, in my opinion. So traditional leadership seems quite formal. There's a process to follow. I'm just kind of the everyday person because I really want to bring in my experience with what actual people do, not what the book says, you know. So, yeah, definitely just have a chat with me.
For sure.
You don't need to go through any specific channels or fill out any forms or anything. It's just say hi.
Yep, definitely. Yeah. And I was going to say, I feel so special because you're the second Nicky Thomas I've had to interview on my show.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I know. And this morning somebody said to me, oh, you've got this on your LinkedIn profile. And I was like, no, that's Nicky KKI. And I'm Nicky Thomas. You know what? Obviously Thomas is my married name, and I was so excited to become Thomas so I wouldn't have to spell my name again because my family are Dutch, and my maiden name is Veenvliet. So every time I said it, I had to spell it. But you know what? Everyone knew who I was because I had this unique name, you know. So, yeah, now I'm just one of the many amazing Nicky Thomases out there.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, Nicky, thank you again. It's been a real pleasure talking to you as usual. And, guys, I'll put all the links to what Nicky shared today in the show notes. So, be sure to check them out. Thanks again, Nicky.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Paul.
Guys, stay tuned next week where I've got another incredible episode to share with another amazing person who's really going to help you break through those blocks in your career. So stay tuned then. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Career Breakthrough Series. Now, a lot of people don't realize the power of podcasting and what getting featured on some of the top podcasts around the world can actually do for your brand or your business. So I just wanted to share with you some of the top reasons why podcasting can really blow up your business. So, podcasting, without a doubt, is the number one platform to actually get your message and your story across to a highly targeted audience and specific audience relating to your speciality. Podcasting also is an instant credibility builder, as if you think about it, the host of these shows that you're getting on has already built up a high level of trust and rapport with their audience. So any guests that they get on that show are going to automatically be classed as somebody special who's instantly trustworthy and someone that they can buy off or trust and get on board with. So now that you've understand the power of podcasting and what it can actually do for your brand and business, I wanted to introduce you to a business called Get Featured. So Get Featured are the experts in getting people featured on top-ranked podcasts that are specific to your niche and your specialty. So by getting in front of your targeted audience, you're going to massively increase your brand exposure, convert tons of listeners into leads, and thus converting them into sales and maximizing your business's income. So I strongly recommend getting in touch with these guys, as they really are the experts that have been and created top-ranked podcasts themselves, so they understand all areas of the business and what's involved and can get you in front of these top-ranked people. So if you're interested in finding out more about this incredible business and what it's going to do for your brand to make it explode, be sure to check out their website at www.getfeatured.com. So that's www.getfeatured.com.